All right, what is up, everybody? Coming back at you with another video on the channel. And today we have a knife I picked up a few weeks ago. Wanted to get a little bit of use in it. Very popular EDC knife, has been around for a while. This is a newer version of it, obviously a Protech. And we have got the Mordax honeycomb textured Magna Cut. All right. So let's get right into it here. I do like Protech's packaging. Take that out there. Limited lifetime warranty to the original owner. Oh man. Get it out of the little pouch right quick. And there we are. And we'll go put this in the box of boxes forever now. So here it is. Protech Mordax in Magna Cut. So this is actually my first Mordax. I have had a couple Protechs before. I had a Protech Strider SNG operator. I did have a exclusive Malibu in 3V. Malibu, just a little too small for me overall, really. It didn't work for my big ham hands very well. So this came available, picked this up from E-Knives, and I am digging it. So obviously flipper tab only, very, very nice. We have a stone-washed Magna Cut blade, very minimal billboarding. Really all you have is the Protech there, nice honeycomb textured scales. And then on the other side we have the Ferrum Forge logo. This is a Ferrum Forge design, and that explains why the ergonomics are awesome on this thing, and they really are. So this knife has been reviewed 100 times. So what we're going to do today is take a quick look at it, and then we're going to do a comparison to the We Knife Co. Exciton. These are fairly similar in overall design and function. I carry this one all the time. I really love the knife, so I wanted to kind of get a little bit of a comparison here. First off, let's look at the Mordax. So obviously, flipper tab only. Good jimping on the flipper tab there. You can light switch, and you can also push button. Get a little lower. Push button, no problem. D10 is great for a button lock knife. These are milled aluminum scales, and you have a clamshell design here in the back. You do have a lanyard hole for those three weirdos out there. And overall, I do really like it. Action is fine. Flips free. I have had it apart a few times because this knife had some pretty bad lock rock when I first got it. You could spin the button and get it not so bad in some places, so I took it apart, kind of looked at the lockup on the plunge lock there. I stretched the spring a little bit so it would push harder out, because I can come with a punch, Q punch, and if I go in here and I push the button outwards, nope, hit the camera, easy there, Tiger. If I push that outwards, it's locked up rock solid. So I was like, well, maybe my spring's a little weak. So I did that, and I've got it much better. So barely anything there now. Now with the Exciton, obviously made by We Knife Co. This is a titanium construction knife. You have titanium scales here with this carbon fiber integral backspacer, kind of a newer design they've done. And I really do like it. Obviously, you've got the nice milling holes here that We Knife does. Obviously, a button lock. Extremely, extremely good detent on this button lock. Flipper tab works great. Ergonomics are just as good. It is quite a large knife. Now, with this knife, the We Knife, rock solid. I mean, there is not a millimeter of movement in this thing. It's rock solid. It's been rock solid from day one. I've disassembled it, I've carried it, I've used it. I'm about to sharpen it soon, actually. And absolutely love it. Carry that thing 2 or 3 days a week. It is a limited edition, but it's been a fantastic EDC knife for me. Milled tie pocket clip here, fairly deep, don't have any issues with that. Overall, just a great knife. So we'll start with size comparisons. Obviously the WE knife is a little better. Overall construction and fit and finish, I'm gonna have to give it to the WE knife, just because of that lock rock, and then just overall in general, you know, it's just a little more fine-tuned, I guess you could say. The Protech's great. Fit and finish here is really good. No issues with that, except, you know, a little bit of lock rock. But overall, so the Protech with this honeycomb scale pattern runs roughly 280 to 300. I paid 300 at E-Knives. I guess they bumped these up 20 bucks because they knew they'd sell out. You know, it is a local smaller place. You know, I'll pay an extra 20 bucks. It is what it is. The Exciton, I think 306, 320, within 20-30 bucks, so right on par there. Materials wise, obviously the MagnaCut versus WE Knife Co 20 CV. I think the MagnaCut's going to win that one. WE Knife Co 20 CV, never had any issues with it. You know, the HRC police guys, well, yeah, it's got 50. Please shut up. You know, go and jack off to HRC numbers in a dark room or whatever the fuck you guys do. Leave me alone, bro. 20 CV works fine. It's plenty hard enough. You know, whatever. It's cool. Sorry, I always see those comments. Well, that has 58 HRC. I wouldn't pay that for it. No. Nobody cares. So moving on to ergonomics. Now, the mordax, fantastic ergonomics in hand. There's no jimping on the spine, but that really doesn't bother me. It's chamfered enough to where it's not sharp. You can kind of get anywhere on there, and it's not an issue. The one little hiccup I have on the mordax, while it does have a nice finger choil compared to some knives, with my big fat fingers, if I get my second knuckle into there, I am on the blade, even hugging back there. So it's a 1, maybe 1.5 knuckle choil for me, which, you know, isn't too bad. I can kind of grab it like this, not feel the blade, and do some fine cuts. Back here, though, really is comfortable. Fair and Forge, known for their extremely ergonomic designs, kind of a function over form type thing, but it is still a great looking knife. Now with the Exciton, you've got a longer handle here. I can get on that really well. You do have a ledge with some jimping here, and then it drops down. So right in this position, it's great. Now with this finger choil, I can move up and second knuckle it without any issues. You can see I am not even close to the blade there, coming up second knuckle. And I think that's more because this flipper tab sticks out more, so it makes more of a cup and pushes your finger forward. Whereas this one, kind of low profile, so you can scoot back just a little bit, but still get up there. You can still use the jimping, but if you need to reach up, that's chamfered enough to where that's not an issue either. Now, action. So both have fantastic button lock action. I can't talk today. Hit the button, straight drop down. No issues there. The swing, no problem there. Tilt it upside down. It's going to fall out. Now with the mordax, very similar. I've got the Exciton tightened down a little bit right now. I quarter turn back and it'd be much better, but it's where I like it. So action, I'll probably give them a tie. They're both great. The detent on both knives is fantastic. I have no complaints there. Very addicting, sorry. Both knives are great. Obviously, the Exciton has the hole to reverse flick, which I do prefer. No issues with that. So as far as the action, I'm going to give it to the Exciton. because of the reverse flick hole. That's kind of a design choice, not really a, you know, whatever, it's my video, it wins. Now, as far as the flipper tabs on the two, you can see here, much more of a low profile. This flipper tab reminds me a lot of the Recon 1 adds-in flipper tab. How it's not, doesn't really look like a flipper tab. And it's more of a button tab, if you will. You can just push straight on it to pull down to flip. You can now that I've broken it in, but it's more of a push button type thing. You can see how similar they are. Versus the mordax, much more ergonomically friendly, sticks out quite a bit more, still good jimping on it. You can push button it as well as light switch in a pinch. You can still light switch the Exciton flipper tab, and it actually works pretty well there. And then the push button works pretty well too. But for the flipper tabs, the mordax does have a little bit of a better flipper tab. Now, here's the big one, lockup. Obviously, like I said, you've got a little bit of lock rock on the plunge lock here, and we're going to do the old spine whack test. Failed. Exciton. Passed. So that's kind of the kicker there. You know, obviously I've seen all the videos on the, you know, mordax, or not the mordax, the Vosteed. Vosteed kind of started the whole downfall of the button locks. People were barely tapping the spines, and lockup was failing. Now, there's actually a YouTuber, G-Ball Vision. He did a video recently where, hell, half the frame locks in his collection failed a spine whack test. And I started testing some of my knives, and there's been some surprises there. More knives than you would have ever thought failed the spine whack test. A big one that a lot of people commented on his video and said theirs did it too was the Grant Gripper. Very popular knife. I think that was Best Tech or Riot, one of the big Chinese OEMs did that one. A lot of people had issues with that one failing. So, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, they are folding knives, okay? They're folding knives. They're not fixed blades. Now, is the spine whack test practical? Yes and no. Mainly no. But the one thing I could see, if you're cutting something and you push through and pull back and somehow whack the spine on something, pulling, you know, if I'm push cutting through this roll of tape and I push through and I, you know, kind of reactionarily pull back and hit the spine on something. I mean, it would be a very weird scenario if that happened. And most of the cutting tasks I do, if it's super heavy cutting, normally I'll grab a utility knife. You know, there's the user stuff people. It's like, guys, these folding knives are for basic cutting. You know, they're not for bushcraft survival or all these other things. It's a knife to have in your pocket. You need to cut something fairly easy, grab it and cut it. And if you need more than what's in your pocket, go get the right tool for the job. You know, and that's just that. So yes, with the lock fail, obviously the Exciton overall is going to win. And with the reverse flick, the super solid lockup, and the fit and finish, for the money, I do think the Exciton is a better buy. Now, these have came in stock a lot more recently. There's been some big drops with the honeycomb and plain and magna cut S45. So you can get one of these. And don't get me wrong, this is a great knife. This is one that's going to stay around in the collection. I don't Don't see myself getting rid of this one anytime soon. I do really like it. Ergonomics is great, and you know, I like having Chinese and American made knives. I like a little bit of both. You know, most of the fidgetability comes from the Chinese OEM knives. A lot of American makers do, you know, rugged, heavy duty type stuff. Not always, but a lot of it. I'm rambling now. Anyways, so overall, they're both great knives. If you had $300 to spend on a button lock, I'd say get the Exciton. You get better materials. Blade steel, very comparable. 20CV is not as good as MagnaCut, but it's still a great steel. 20CV is probably my favorite steel up until MagnaCut came out. I've got a couple MagnaCut knives now. So yeah, that was a little comparison there, kind of give you a look. I haven't seen these two compared, so I thought it'd be a cool video. Do some channel talk real quick. So today is December 16th. Yesterday, December 15th, the Brian Brown Jaeger M V3 dropped. So I have two V2s. I have the all blasted and I have the all blacked out version. But as you can see, these are both flipper models, and with my hands, the flipper just doesn't work great ergonomically. Now, if that flipper tab wasn't there and I could choke up, oh, it would be perfect. So I picked up American Edge. First purchase from them, smaller company out of Minnesota, kind of like an E-Knives type deal. You know, family owned, still a great site. They had a number you could text. I texted them 2 or 3 times with some questions. Always got right back to me. Great experience there. They had the Jaeger M V3, which actually has the... Where are all my knives? Sorry, guys. Here we go. This is the Corvus, the Brian Brown Corvus, and it has this kind of pivot island design, and then, you know, your pivot collar on the back. This is one of Brian Brown's newest releases before the Jaeger V3. The new Jaeger M V3 has a pivot island style design. For the pivot, you also get a T15 instead of a T10. Any other changes? I think that was it. Oh, and on the inlay versions, instead of one strip of inlay, the whole back piece is covered. But I wanted a non-flipper, and there's only... So this run, he just did a bunch of dealer exclusives. So like 10 or 12 different dealers had all sorts of crazy exclusives. There was no plain Jane versions. And then Brian Brown released some damage steel versions on his site, non-flipper, because he said he likes the non-flipper more. And I do as well, just never had a chance to get one. So I got the American Edge. It has the Gecko carbon fiber inlay, and it's a full inlay on both sides. The camo carbon Gecko, kind of a crazy looking carbon fiber, really cool, with a satin blade, non-flipper. What's funny though, after I bought it, I was looking on American Edge's site, and they do custom work. Well, they offer a flipper delete for 35 bucks. Yeah, this whole time I could have spent 40 bucks, sent it out there, and got a dang flipper delete on this one, which I'm probably going to end up doing to have two I really love. So yeah, pick that one up. Today's Saturday. On Friday, I paid $61 for UPS Priority Air overnight, right? And when I buy from DLT, I normally pay $40 for UPS overnight Saturday delivery. Never an issue. I paid $60 for UPS overnight. Well, this morning at like 7 a.m., it gets to my local facility 3 minutes from my house, never goes out for delivery, and says it'll be here Monday. I was like, man, for 61 bucks, you didn't choose Saturday delivery. You know, kind of pissed me off. I wanted to make that video today, but I hadn't reviewed the mordax, so I figured I'd put a video and a little comparison on that. So that's where we're at. So hopefully here in a few days, I'll get the video out on the Jaeger M V3 non-flipper Gecko carbon fiber inlay. We'll get a look at that. Brian Brown has been killing it lately. there's a lot of those still available, guys. DLT sold out. E-Knives have one, which E-Knives has one that's kind of like this, plain Jane, hand satin with polished zirconium, you know, backspacer clip, pivot. But they want $515, which I thought was a little wild, because I paid $3.99 for the Gecko carbon fiber inlay, which you'd think would be more than a plain Jane. I mean, yeah, more than a plain Jane, but they want $515. And then River's Edge Cutlery had a jig titanium, $475. NC Blade had an inlay version, $3.99. Smoky Mountain Knife Works, $3.75 for a frag pattern, which I thought was a good deal. Those are still available. The frag pattern is still available. I noticed a lot of stuff is not selling out like it used to, and I think part of that's the economy, the time of year. You know, people don't have the extra cash right this second, but works for me because I've got what I wanted recently. Even the Gecko carbon fiber stayed in stock for 7 or 8 hours, so no issue there. But then Tactile Knife Co. dropped the Archer on Thursday, maybe. It sold out in about an hour. Figured it'd be instant, but that's $600, which it looks like a crazy knife, but I'd probably buy one, honestly. I bought the Gecko carbon fiber Jaeger. If I didn't, I might have bought the Archer. I want to see some reviews of it first, though, just where they had the mix up with the Maverick on the first couple that came out. Hopefully they've learned from that. So yeah, what else? Oh, the After Hours Jack dropped. Looked like a cool knife. I got the Gunslinger Jack, his first locking knife when it came out. I do like it. The After Hours Jack looked really good. Fit and finish, everything about this knife is great, but just with this really thin blade, I don't know, it just doesn't give me that satisfying clunk that you want. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, when you get a thicker blade knife, you get that noise, you know, that ding. Medford. You know, you get that solid thunk when you flick it. With this one, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. Great knife, fit and finish is great, really love the design. It just didn't really do it for me. So I decided to go with the Jaeger instead of these. There's actually quite a few After Hours Jacks still available, going back to things not selling out. But anyways, guys, this has went long. Just having a nice talk with you guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Go check out some of my other videos if any knives you've seen interest you, and many, many more. I appreciate you guys watching, and have yourself a great day.